there, it's Nina with Walla Stamping. Thanks for joining me today. This is the project that we're going to be making together. Isn't it so cute? I just love it. But I did struggle a little bit this morning coming up with an idea of something that we could make that would be quick, simple, and easy, but different, if that makes any sense at all. I didn't want to just do the same old square box, and I didn't want to do a card today. So this is the idea that I came up with, and I hope that you like it. When I first made this one, this is my sample that I made for myself. I did not use this little binder clip to keep it closed. I actually put 3 glue dots in there, which made it have a very neat and clean finished look, but when you open it, it will tear your paper just a little bit. So that being said, I switched over to the little binder clip, which I don't like as much. I wanted it to have a cleaner look, but if you don't mind the packaging being torn a little bit when the recipient tears it open, then use the glue dots. Or if you like the binder clip, use that. Or you could also use some ribbon if you wanted to. But anyway, what is inside is just a couple of bottles of nail polish, and this is OPI. This color is called Running with the Infinite Crowd. Now, I've had this a year or maybe a little bit more, so I don't know if this color is still available, because I know OPI does rotate their colors out from time to time. But if you're interested, that's what color that is. I do like giving nail polishes to some of my friends that I know like to paint their nails. I feel like it's a very useful and practical gift, but fun all at the same time. So let's set this over to the side, and I'll tell you everything you're going to need to make this project. So first of all, I'm going to be doing everything the same with the exception of the flowers. I used Melon Mambo because I felt like it really matched the nail polish color really well, but that was the last little bitty smidgen of Melon Mambo I had. So I'm going to do today's flowers in Flirty Flamingo instead. But the base of mine is Pear Pizzazz. This is cut to 10 3/8 by 3 1/2, and then a second piece that is 4 3/4 by 3 3/8, my Flirty Flamingo for the flowers, which is 4 1/2 by 2, a piece of Dazzling Diamonds that's 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and a piece of Basic Black that is 4 1/2 by 3 1/2. Now the first thing we need to do is a little bit of scoring, so I'm going to grab my Simply Scored scoring tool and we'll get that done. Now I do have a kit, and in order to be entered to win the kit, just go over to my website, wallastamping.com, find the post for this project, and leave a comment below, and your name will be entered to win the kit. Now I have my 10 3/8 across the top, and I have scored this once because I altered the length of my paper before I started the demo, and that's why the score marks are there. So this is going to get scored at 4 1/2. Then you're going to turn it around to the opposite side and score it at 4 1/2 again. Then you're going to take your other piece of Pear Pizzazz, and you're just going to score at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So the scoring for this project is super duper easy. Now I'm going to go ahead and just fold and burnish all of my score lines. Now this one, we're not going to be doing any cutting to it at all, but this one we'll take our scissors and we'll cut straight up this score line and stop when you reach the first horizontal score line, and do the same thing on this side. Then I'm going to fold that center piece out of the way and just cut a little notch out of both of these little tabs on either side. Then flip it around and repeat that over here on this opposite side. And when you're done, this is what you're going to have. So you'll take Fast Views and put a couple pieces on each of these 4 tabs that you just cut out. Then assemble the bottom of your box. And all I'm doing is just lining up this cut edge with this folded edge. Okay, so your box is put together. Now all we have to do is the embellishments. So I'm going to take my basic black, and I'll be using Versamark ink. I'm going to use my embossing buddy and put some of that anti-static powder on there. I'm going to be using some white Stampin' Emboss powder, and I'm going to grab a scrap sheet to catch the fall off from that. The stamp set that I'm using is the Flourishing Phrases, and the framelits or thinlits that I'm using are the Flourishing Thinlits. Now these come together in a bundle. I'm going to be using both of these floral thinlits here as well as this little piece right here. So let me, oh, and by the way, I have my sentiment on a block C. So I'm going to get that inked up really well in my Versamark. That looks good. And I'm just going to stamp this, not directly in the center, but probably on about the top third portion of my basic black cardstock. Then I'm going to put my powder on top, tap off the excess, and put the remaining back in my container. Now I'm going to grab my heat gun and I'm going to let it get hot, and when it does, then I'm going to heat set my embossing powder. I've got a few little stray pieces of embossing powder here. I'm just wiping those away. Now that I have my thank you very much heat set and embossed, I'm going to take my layering ovals framelits. I'm going to use the largest of the plain framelits, and I'm going to cut out my sentiment. But if you'll notice, I want the sentiment closer to the top. I don't want it in the center of my oval. I want it closer to the top. Since we already have our big shot out and working for us, I'm going to go ahead and cut out both of my flowers. And you'll want to cut out 3 of this thinlet, but of course you can only do 1 at a time. So I'll run all 3 of these together once, and then I'll run this one by itself 2 more times. Okay, so we got everything embossed and everything cut out. So what I'm going to use to adhere it all to my basic black oval are my glue dots. So I'm going to take one and put it just about down in this area. If you were thinking of this as a clock, it would be almost 7 o'clock. So I'm going to take one of these little shapes and I'm just going to snip it off right there. Just take it off. Oopsie, dropped it. Just this little portion, because I do want one to be a little bit shorter than the rest. And when you're putting these on, you want to keep the tips of the stems all relatively close together, because your flower is going to sit on top of this, and then we're going to use a rhinestone to cover that up. I'm going to use another glue dot and put on the top so that I can take my larger flower, and where this little hole is in the center of the flower, I'm going to put it right there on top of where all of those glue dots are, and then I'm going to use one of my largest rhinestones and put it right there in the center to cover that up. Now I'm going to take a glue dot and put it right up here in this upper right hand corner and put my flower down, and then use another rhinestone in the center of that flower. So these little rhinestones do a couple of things. They cover up the glue dots that everything is adhered down with, as well as give you a little extra shimmer. Now I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to use my Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to put one in the center and then put one at the top and one at the bottom. Now you could use a couple of more and have a total of 5 if you wanted to. I'm just going to stick with 3. Now we're going to take the outside of our box and we're going to attach our embellishment. Then we're going to lay this out flat. I'm going to turn this portion of my box over and grab my fast fuse. I'm going to leave this turned this way so I can see both of these score lines. And what you'll do is you'll bring in your little box, and you're going to want to line it up and center it left to right this way. But where these two score lines are, you want either edge of your box to be in line with those, but don't go over them, because if you do, you won't be able to get your box closed nice and neatly. So I can't get right over the top of my box to see if I have it in the exact spot that I need to. So I'm hoping that I've got it centered this way. There we go. So then at this point, all you'll need to do is put your nail polishes in here. You know, you could also put a little goodie bag in there with some candy in it. That would be a cute idea too. You could even put maybe a pair of earrings or something in here. So to keep from using the glue dots and tearing the paper, I'm just going to use another one of these little gold binder clips. And there you go. This is the Melon Mambo one, and this is the Flirty Flamingo one. Oh, I almost forgot. I have something else to do. So then at this point, I'm going to come in here and put a large rhinestone there. Get a medium rhinestone and put it just above it right here. Make sure I'm getting those on there straight. And then get a smaller one and put it right up here. As you guys know, I love my rhinestones. They're one of my favorite things. So there is both of these boxes completed for you. Now, if you would like to have an instruction sheet with all of the measurements and all of the supplies that I used to make this project, go to my website at wallastamping.com, and there will be a list of supplies there for you, as well as all of the information on how to create it. Don't forget to leave a comment to be entered to win the kit. And if you have any questions, be sure to let me know. You can email me at nina@wallastamping.com. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.